हम खींच लेते हैं ये। हाँ, ये दबाना है ना, ये वाला
पूरा क्लोजअप में लीजिएगा।
हाँ।
ठीक है, देखिए पूरा एकदम है क्लोजअप।
फिर उसको ऊपर
दूध लेगा और बोलिए।
प्रविशिष्टांश एवं गुरुणां कल्पे यथा यथा औहिं गतवन्तः तथा तथैव उत्कृष्टतरतां पदवीं उपाधिं दायित्वं सोढवन्तः। डॉक्टर रमन्ना महोदया सदस्याः उपाध्यक्षाः अध्यक्षाः निदेशकाः परामर्शदातारो वा आसन्। यथा आत्मीयदेशस्य विजयनगरकायाः अंतर्राष्ट्रीय परमाणु शक्ति अभिकरणस्य महानिदेशकस्य परामर्श राज्यसमितेः सदस्याध्यक्षं तस्या एव संस्थायाः महानिदेशके तत्समाधारस्य अष्टसप्ततिं यावत् भारतीय विज्ञान अकादम्याम् उपाध्यक्षतां तत्समाधारस्य उदाहरणं यावत् आह्वान परमाणु केन्द्रस्य विदेशतत्त्वं द्विसप्तत्युत्तर एकोनसप्तमादारभ्य अष्टसप्ततिं यावत् एकादशोत्तर एकोनविंशतिसप्तमादारभ्य त्रयशीतिं यावत् भारतसर्वकारस्य रक्षामन्त्रालयस्य विज्ञानपरामर्शदातृत्वं रक्षानुसन्धान विकाससंघटनस्य महानिदेशकत्वं रक्षानुसन्धानस्य अष्टसप्तत्युत्तर एकोनविंशतिसप्तमादारभ्य एकादशीतिं यावत् साहित्यं परमाणुऊर्जायोगस्य अध्यक्षं परमाणुऊर्जा विभागस्य च साहित्यादिकं संसदं निर्गुणम् एवं महाभारते एतेषां परमाणुऊर्जा पूर्वकालिकां सम्यक् निरीक्षैव तत्कालीने प्रधानमन्त्रिणा एते महाभागाः रक्षाराज्यमन्त्रिपदे नियुक्ताः नवत्युत्तरैकोनविंशतितमे वर्षे न केवलं विभिन्नदायित्वपूर्णपदे समारोपिताः अपितु स्वकीयमौलिकावदानकृते अत्युत्तमोपाधिः पुरस्कारैश्च अलङ्कृताः बहूनि संस्थाः यथा त्रिसत्युत्तर एकोनविंशतितमे
अहं भवतां उत्साहः समाजस्य संस्कृतेश्च अमुत्तरदेवायाः कृते अस्य विद्यासंस्थानस्य द्वितीयदीक्षान्तसमारोहे भवत्याः वाक्पतिः इति सम्मानोपाधिम् उपायनीतो कामये च अस्य महिममण्डितस्य उपाधेः आजीवनं परिपालनाय अध्यक्षाधिकारेण अहं शिक्षायाः समाजस्य संस्कृतेश्च अमुत्तरदेवायाः कृते अस्य विद्यासंस्थानस्य द्वितीयदीक्षान्तसमारोहे आचार्य भोगराज महोदयेभ्यः वाक्पतिः सम्मानोपाधिं परोक्षेण उपायनीतवती। कामये च अस्य महिममण्डितस्य उपाधेः आजीवनं परिपालनं करोतु स विद्वन्मणिः।
by the invitation to address this convocation. Coming as it did from my respected friend, Professor Murthy and Professor Rinpoche. For somebody who does not live here and whose knowledge of all that has happened on this hallowed ground is by personally reading from books and newspaper articles, this honor done to me makes me so happy that I do not know how to express my gratitude. I must first congratulate the staff and the new graduates of the Institute for their achievements and the fact that they have studied under the same tree under which the Buddha himself taught, to give them added confidence and hope in facing this severely troubled world of ours. On this very solemn occasion, highly organized occasion, I have to express my gratitude to the honor done to me for the conferment of the degree of Vakpati of this institute. I do not know whether I deserve this honor on this very solemn occasion, but you can be certain that my thoughts are already influenced by the atmosphere of this place. The nearest I can approach to being useful and show my appreciation is to bring to your attention some of the new developments in modern physics which has a direct bearing on philosophy. It suggests a newer understanding of the words of the Sakyamuni, even as it is preserved by various Tibetan scholars over the centuries. It is perhaps not a suitable subject for a convocation address, but the present situation in science calls for a renewed study of the Buddhist logic and Buddhist ethics are of the greatest relevance to the modern world as it includes all knowledge. I have chosen the subject of logic and modern science as I feel our knowledge of the structure of the universe has become somewhat confused because we have not taken a comprehensive view of metaphysics and the universal logic to be able to appreciate reality in the overall sense. Let me recall some aspects of the history of science which is of relevance. Galileo and Newton introduced the idea of quantification and mathematics in the explanation of all physical phenomena. They also believed that everything must possess a reality if it was to be true. For example, if waves of water can be seen by us, the waves that transmit sound are pressure waves in the gases and other media which we can detect. Successes of the Newtonian theory have been so striking that till about the end of the last century it was considered the last word in science. There were one or two inexplicable phenomena as in radiation, radioactivity, etc. But generally it was felt at that time that over a period it could all be explained away within the Newtonian concept of the universe. This has not happened, and the concept of the universe seems to be radically different. These conclusions have resulted from the discovery of the theory of relativity and quantum mechanics. I do not propose to make the convocation address in the lecture on physics, but these new findings have forced us to believe in a reality which is so different that it is difficult to reconcile it with the older classical points of view. When quantum mechanics first came into existence and the dual nature of matter was proposed, it seemed so strange that its validity was questioned by many of the distinguished scientists of that period. Again, however, the success of the new theories in explaining the material world, particularly the atomic world, is so striking that people accepted the inconsistencies, hoping that future work would clarify its foundation. Even at the time, the founders of the theory would admit that the theory as such was incomplete, but would probably have remained in this position until something better was discovered. Even nearly after 60 years, the position has remained unchanged. It is, however, interesting to note that sometimes attempts to rationalize quantum mechanics have taken recourse to the existence of the human mind as a special entity outside physics. Such theories, the human mind is supreme and is an inescapable component of reality. In recent times, many things have happened in the world which make us lean on philosophy for a proper appreciation of the universe we live in. In the last few years, our ethical standards have changed and our use of violence in non-military activity has increased. The spiritual forces on which we depended for social stability have become more fundamentalistic and liberal thinking citizens. As a result of these changes in our attitudes, there has been a renewed confidence among people to consider the Buddhist moderation as a refuge for the future. While the thoughts of the Buddha will indeed help the world, it is important that our interpretation of the great words of the past has a validity spreading over all knowledge and not merely over a regime that covers a small aspect of human development. The failure of present-day ethics is due to its lack of depth. This is why simple statements like, I will be good, I will tell the truth, by themselves are not sufficient. They do not make a permanent mark on society unless they are strongly supported by a philosophical basis. During the last few decades, metaphysics has come under questioning by several learned scholars and dismissed as something which is just hot air. Example of Rutherford. And therefore does not have any practical value. The same has been said of logic as being dry as dust, essentially sterile in nature. These attitudes towards logic and metaphysics has to be revived. Not because the great philosophers of the past made it their main support, but because the discoveries of physics in recent times are themselves forcing the scientists to interpret their results to metaphysics logic. The division savants of the past have preserved for us some very important works of ancient times, particularly on logic. The study of logic by itself may sound like dry as dust material, but if the connection is made with the epistemology of physics, it takes a very different role, full of immediate relevance. All this requires a deep knowledge of the older works and a deep understanding of the sciences. It is my hope that the Central Institute for Indian Studies, a deemed university, will supply the necessary support for a re-evaluation of the Buddhist thought and logic in the light of the requirements of science. I see a great role for this institute in this aspect of knowledge. In this aspect of knowledge of the future, because if there is any religion that comes close to science, it is Buddhism. Now, Mr. Chairman, sir, I once again like to express the honor that done to me, how grateful I am for the honor done to me by awarding me a degree here. Usually people award degrees after they have made some contributions to knowledge. But in my particular case, it seems to be the starting point of really understanding Buddhist contributions to logic and metaphysics, that I can still find some connections between the new science and the old thoughts, which I'm pretty intuitively feel disconnected, but requires deep understanding and time to appreciate the relationship between the two. I also once again wish the new graduates my best wishes for the occasion and hope that my suggestion of understanding old texts in the light of the needs of time will prove useful. Any success in the latter will be of the greatest value to knowledge, and this institute will get followed for initiating such pioneering work. Once again, thank you.
समारोह